What's up, guys? Carolina Jackpot coming at you. I'm going to do it road trip style Wednesday morning. It's November the 6th, and it's a little bit before 5:30 a.m. So last night, college football playoff rankings, top 25 comes out. Did a live video, and a little bit of a surprise there that the Clemson Tigers were not included in the four-team playoff, which doesn't mean a hill of beans. And so it was Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, Penn State, Clemson, then Georgia. Doesn't really mean anything because two of those teams play this weekend. Of course, Alabama versus LSU in Tuscaloosa at 3:30 on Saturday afternoon. Game should be at nighttime. I don't care what anybody says, that one should be at night. And I was informed last night on the live stream, CBS can only do one night game a year. I didn't know that. So they've already used that up. That would be Georgia versus Notre Dame earlier on in the season. And then we have Penn State will take on Ohio State November 23rd, so a few weeks from now. They'll take on each other, and one of those teams will take care of themselves. So the Taters, basically all they have to do is win out. They will move up to fourth at least this next playoff poll. It's inevitable because either Alabama or LSU is going to lose and will drop down below them, one would think. Unless Clemson loses this weekend to NC State. And if you've watched NC State play, the likelihood of the moon crashing into the earth is more probable than Clemson losing to NC State in Raleigh this weekend. They're going to be mad. They're going to be angry. They're always looking for motivate. They're always saying, you always underestimate us. Dabo is always the underdog. And, Dabo, he thrives on being predicted to be second best or perceived as just being little old Clemson and not as good as the big boys at college football. He's going to prove y'all wrong. So they'll beat NC State by about 55-10 this weekend and beat their chest about that. And that's some great win. But, I had somebody on one of the comments, I was talking about Minnesota being way down at like number 17 or whatever they were. They have absolutely no respect. Somebody said Minnesota's number 17 because they haven't played anybody. Well, neither is Clemson. Neither are they. So there's that. Anyway, moving on from that one, it's going to be South Carolina versus Appalachian State at 7 p.m. this Saturday. I believe that was over on ESPN2, The Deuce. Right now, the Gamecocks are 5-point home favorites. This one's a tough one to pick. I mean, it really is. It really is. This is the first time that these two have played each other in like 30 years. I was actually at the game the last time South Carolina played App State. It was in 1989, I do believe. Actually, the coach that year, Sparky Woods, was the first-year head coach at South Carolina, and Appalachian State was where he came from. Anyway, that's been a long time ago, and a lot of things have changed in the landscape of college football and just in society in general. In 2019, so the North Carolina band of hipsters are going to come out of the mountains with the Subaru four-wheel drive vehicles with 9 million stickers all over the back of them. The like. Tangle with the Gamecocks. No, I'm just kidding. Their football team's actually pretty good. Their student base is kind of weird, but that is what it is. And then they're also complaining because they said South Carolina has put the Appalachian State Band in the upper deck at Willie B. It's a classless move. That's just sorry. No, it's not classless. Your school's athletic department allowed the entire allotment of your tickets to be sold to fans. So they took the seats that belong to the band. So you have only yourselves to blame for that. On another note, who cares? I mean, at least they're coming to the game. A lot of schools don't. I mean, you don't even bring bands to the games. It's likely that these band members are going to be so stoned on Saturday evening that they're not even going to know if they're in Columbia, South Carolina, or if they're in Columbia, South America, down there, you know, where Juan Valdez walks the donkey around in the coffee commercials. Let's just be real. At any rate, this is going to be a good football game, I feel like. Should it be a good football game? No. South Carolina, you know, conceivably, talent-wise, should win the game by 3 touchdowns. They should, but they won't. This is, in my opinion, and this is just Carolina Jackpot talking to you, this is William Muschamp's Waterloo. I think this is Will's Waterloo. If you lose this game, you are going to totally lose the fan base. You're totally going to lose them. You've about done it now. I mean, you've lost me already. You lost me when the clock hit 000 in Bank of America Stadium. I was done. I don't care about the one against Georgia. That's great. We played out of our minds that day, and Georgia played a subpar game. It happens. It ain't nothing you did, sir. Ain't nothing you did. Okay? You lose this game, you're going to lose what supporters you do have left in the fan base. And the seat, I think, has already gotten a little bit hotter now that they see what happened with William Taggart down at Florida State. I mean, they didn't even wait around. Those boosters, they were done. I mean, the rich boosters were done, had raised up enough money to buy out this man's contract. They bought him out. Now, you say, well, they got more money down there. Yeah, no, they don't. I certainly am in no position to do it, okay? Unless one of these days, I hope to be, once I scratch off the big one. It said, the big one. Maybe, one day. There are enough rich old Gamecocks out there, lawyers, ones that did undergrad at South Carolina, went to MUSC, they're doctors now, or retired doctors, or whatever. They have money. They could raise up enough money to buy this guy contract out. I just don't know that the base of alumni cares as much about football as they do at Florida State. And I mean that at Florida State, because you got to go back. They've been relevant for about 40 years at Florida State, give or take a little more than 40 years. You know, before the 1960s, if I'm not mistaken, maybe it was before it was around 1950-ish. Florida State was an all-girls school, and then I guess they started allowing male students in. Eventually, they started having male sports and all that. They never were any good, really, until Bobby Bowden arrived as head coach there in 1976. I think they had a couple of rough years, and then he started winning. Big. He started taking his teams on the road to play at Ohio State. They played at Nebraska. They played, anywhere you can think of. Notre Dame a couple times, I think. And they won these big games as an independent. Eventually joined the ACC, and they went like 5 years before they even lost a game in the ACC. So their alumni base is more in tune with them having football success than what South Carolina is. That's just fact. We've just been a mediocre program. So I can understand that, but there are enough of them out there to get up enough money to buy that. But I don't even know that will absolutely be necessary. If he loses to Appalachian State, you're going to lose the next game to Texas A&M. You just are. And that will leave us with, we lose the rest of those games, if I'm not mistaken, that will leave us with a 4-8 record, which was my worst case scenario prediction for the Gamecocks in the summer was 4-8. I didn't think that the wins and losses would break down in the odd fashion that they have. I certainly didn't predict a win over Georgia in my worst case scenario video and a loss to North Carolina, but so it has come to pass. If he wins this game, I say it's a 50-50 shot that you go on the road next week and win against Texas A&M. And look, I know South Carolina's lost to Texas A&M 5 years in a row. Texas A&M's not any good. I mean, they're bowl eligible. I get that. I think they're 6-3. But they got some tough games remaining too. The other two are their game at Georgia and then a game against LSU, which I believe is a road game as well. Both of those are losses. So they lose to the Gamecocks, they'll be 6-6. Looks like the Gamecocks will be 6-6, most likely if they win against them and then win against old Fap State. They don't have any real defense to speak of. Their line of scrimmage has been suspect. They don't have a real run game. They do have a good quarterback who's played well. And let's just face it, they've beaten the teams this year that they should beat. The games that they've been favored in, they won. The games that they were underdogs in, they lost. With varying degrees of success. You know, they almost lost to a terrible Arkansas team, which was that was really bad. You know, got blown out by Alabama. I mean, I think you could expect that. They blew out Mississippi State at the beginning of the season. I don't think anybody really expected that, but Mississippi State has largely underwhelmed everyone this year. They won at Ole Miss by, I think, 7 points. Ole Miss is just a middle-of-the-road team anymore. They're not terrible like they were a couple seasons ago, but they're not good by any stretch of the imagination. So that's a mixed bag. I don't know what you'll get with them. I think South Carolina can score, but it'll be interesting. Getting back to Saturday, Appalachian State, they're a one-loss team, and they've probably lost their chance to be at a New Year's Six Bowl. Probably have lost that chance with that loss against Georgia Southern last week on Thursday. If they lose to my Gamecocks on Saturday, they are totally done. Will still be the Sun Belt champions in all likelihood. Got a good quarterback there, good running game. I mean, it's just a solid football team. But still, the talent level is a lot different. South Carolina should still be beating them by several scores. It's not going to happen. I honestly think that Appalachian State will cover the spread in that game, and I think that it'll come down to the wire. I mean, to the wire. If South Carolina loses that game, if they, lose that game by 2 or 3 touchdowns, he's done. He will be done. I'm telling you, the guy will be gone because they're just not going to stand for that any longer. And the fan base is totally turned against Will, and they will be totally 100% turned against him if they lose that ball game. It's interesting to see what the attendance is going to look like on Saturday night. Who knows? My guess is going to be that there will be slightly a few more people in the stands than there were for the Vanderbilt game, but I could be wrong because the Vanderbilt game was a homecoming game. I think there will be just a few more in the stands than there were for that game because this is just, it's a bigger name opponent than Vanderbilt anymore. It really is. So we'll see. We'll see. They're getting some players back from injury. South Carolina is. Shy Smith, wide receiver, looks like he's probable to play against Vanderbilt or App State from what I've seen. Rico Dowdle should be playing this weekend, but now Tavian Feaster, our other running back, he's probably not going to play from what I understand. And this is another one I don't get. Why in the world are we having so many soft tissue injuries down there this year? Why? I mean, last year it was defensive backs getting hurt. It was linemen getting hurt. This year you've got a ton of running backs hurt. And, you know, and I'll hear it too from Tater fan. They'll sit there and say, I tell you why you're getting so many injuries down there. It's because of lack of depth. No, it's actually not. Running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and quarterback is where our injuries have been this year. Skill positions. Tight end, we had one of the deepest tight end rooms in the country before the season started. We've lost three this year. Now, had some injuries at wide receiver as well. A running back situation, I mean, somebody seems to be banged up, have a pulled hamstring, something or other every single week. And the quarterback situation, I mean, the Jake Bentley thing, that's something totally different by itself. But, you know, Ryan Nowitzki's been hurt off and on all year long. Rico Dowdle hurt all year, off and on. And it's just been a vicious cycle. I don't understand it. I don't know if it's in the conditioning. I don't know if it's in the nutrition. I don't know. I know that if you don't stay hydrated enough, that you will get soft tissue injuries. I do have enough medical knowledge to know that, but other than that, I mean, I don't know. I know every team gets injuries, but we just always seem to get bit by the bug a little bit worse than everybody else. Just another thing. It's just the Muschamp effect, just a little bit more. And, you know, 20 years ago, this wouldn't have been the kind of season we're having. Would not have been so frowned upon at South Carolina. Yeah, but when Stephen Orr Spurrier took over in 2005, and he proved to the country and the football world that, yes, indeed, at the University of South Carolina, you can do more than win 6 games and go to a meaningless Meineke Care GoDaddy.com bowl game against a down West Virginia team. I mean, you just can. I mean, you can win there at a high level. Now, he had them almost at elite status. Had them 1 game away 3 years in a row from being in elite status for that season. So it can be done, and the fan base they got a taste of it. They got an appetizer. It's like that we got an hors d'oeuvre. We never did get to serve the main course. We're looking for the man to serve us the main course. William Muschamp's just a busboy. I'll see y'all later. Peace. I'm out.